Call into order the October Hamilton County Council. May I have a roll call?
Brad Beaver,
Here.
Mark Hall,
Here.
Amy Masalamany,
Present.
Ken Alexander,
Present.
Sue Mackey,
Present.
Tim Griffin,
Here.
Steve Nation.
Present.
Mr. President, you have a quorum.
All right, and leading us in our invocation and pledge, Councilor Mackey.
That's right. Let's bow our heads. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity to be here to work together for the betterment of our community. We ask that you be with us, our families, and those who serve our community, both locally and abroad through our armed services. In your name we pray, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the first item of business is a public hearing for the 2024 budget. This has been a modified agenda for, but we will be doing the public hearing for the Hamilton County Solid Waste Management District and the Hamilton County Airport Authority. And at this time, I'll open up the public hearing. Do we have any public comments signed up? Anyone want to speak? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. All right, and we will have an adoption at our next, is October 16th, is that correct?
Yes.
And we'll be advertising for that. Great, thank you. All right, next item. I'm gonna read all three of these items. The minutes of the, I'd like to, we have the, next is reading and approving the minutes for the following meetings. The minutes of the joint meeting from August 28th, 2023, the 2024 Budget Department Workshop, September 5th and 6th, and minutes of September 6th, 2023.
Motion to approve all three?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. This time, public comments. Do we have any public comments? Okay, seeing none, we'll go through committee reports. I'll just start and just say that we had a groundbreaking today, that was exciting for the Baker's Corner project, and was appreciative of everyone that was there. It was a packed house, and that's gonna be an exciting project that's really gonna open up not only the 31 corridor, but our northern communities are really gonna benefit from that. I think great vision from the county and our commissioners, and support from the states, and to get this project moving forward. It's going to be something that's gonna transform that part of the community. So that was wonderful, and that's, Madam Vice President.
The only thing I just want to remind the public and us and everyone here is that our portal for appointments will be open until November 15th. As a reminder, just so we're clear, any appointment, reappointment, new appointment must reapply. So if it's a 12-month appointment, you must go reapply then for the following year. So we'll close that portal on the 15th, and I'll provide the information to follow from there.
And with that, just a comment that even if there's a board appointment that's not a vacant, or expires the end of this year, if you have an interest in something, apply, because if people move, situations come up where they have to resign their position, we go to who has applied in the past, and that way we can fill positions quickly.
Yes, and you can add resumes, cover letters, all of the information provided too. So that's the place to go. I know people have reached out to me, but leverage the portal, please.
Yeah, and that's a wonderful, wonderful tool, and our staff in Hamilton County, we're blessed to have them put that together for us.
That's all I
next-
have.
Great. Highway Department. We have the,
We
Yeah.
did not meet, and there's a few things on the agenda. Oh,
Excuse me. She would like to address the council on the appointments. Her resume is in your packet.
well, does anyone have any problem with, we were just there? That's fine.
Sorry.
If you guys mind, we're just going back to public comments.
She applied to
I apologize, I wasn't quite sure
Understood.
what I was supposed to address you.
State your name for the record.
So, my name is Melba Kaiser. My name is Melba Kaiser, and I'm here to apply for the Hamilton East Public Library Board. Good evening, and thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak with you tonight. So I believe that you should all have a copy of my resume as well as recommendation letters. And I did apply for that position online last month, but was unable to make it to the meeting. I'd just like to tell you a little bit about myself. First of all, when I was in second grade and my brother in first grade, Fidel Castro decided to shut down all of the religious schools. That was pretty much the beginning of his government control over free speech. And since then, his control and his government's, well, he's passed away, but his government's control over what the people can see and can read has become complete. Because of that and several other issues that my family experienced, my parents decided to emigrate to the United States. And so I grew up basically here in the United States and got my education here in the United States. During all that time, my parents always stressed the importance of education to me, and books are central to that education. Now, having come from a communist country, I understand and fully support the ideals of free speech, the ability of people to speak their mind, the value in having different viewpoints, and what reading means to the education and the development of your mind. And I believe that I have benefited from all of those ideals. I'm going to fast forward. During my 40-year career, which I worked full-time, I worked in the areas of food technology, pharmaceutical manufacturing, product development, technology transfer, banking, and financial services.
One more minute.
I'm sorry?
One more minute.
Okay. During that time, I raised a daughter. I was married, and I got my degree, my bachelor's degree. So I moved to Noblesville in 2009, and once I became established here, I again took up community service. Since I'm now fully retired, I'm able to dedicate a lot of time to community service with children and adults, which is what my passion is. Last year, I ran for school board. I knocked on over 2,200 doors. I had hundreds of conversations with our community members. And so I believe that I've gained a real understanding of what our community expects and wants. I'm a critical thinker with a common sense approach to looking at issues and resolving problems. I believe that my values and my upbringing and my background gives me a good understanding of how to serve our community as a library board.
Thank you, Mrs. Kaiser.
Thank
Just for the record, we won't be entertaining open dialogue for the appointments. That it will all be done online. We appreciate you coming up during public comments, and just because we had to go back, I want to open it up again. If there's anyone else in the audience that has any public comment, I'd open that up again. Seeing none, well, we'll move on. But thank you very much for the time, and thank you for already applying on the portal.
Yep.
That means a lot to me. Sue, I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
Oh, that's
right?
okay. Highway did not meet, but there's a few small items on the agenda.
All right, thank you. Finance.
Okay, I passed out to each one of you minutes from the last finance committee meeting. I'll hit the high points. If you've got questions, I'll go further into it. Our main item, due to fluctuations in our AV, we had a discussion of how we wanted to handle the last bond issue. What was decided, the finance committee's recommendation is item number 4 in the minutes, which means we were going to bond for $5 million total, and we'll repay it in a year, and a little bit over that $5 million we'll be able to collect on our operating balance. That's generally what we had in mind all year long. The tax rate will stay, with this particular issue, the tax rate will stay flat, will stay the same as last year, and there is money in cum cap development if the commissioners get around to trying to make a land purchase. So that's covered in cum cap. The $5 million is a project we've already identified the tax rate stays flat for 2024. If you go on down through there, I mentioned to the Finance Committee that Connor Sullivan had contacted me and requested $250,000 be put back into the commissioner's budget. I told him that I'd bring it up to the rest of them, but we were open for business every month, and if they needed more money, they could always come and get it. Counselor Nation had a concern on that, which I will double check on and report back if there's any conflict before we go to adoption next month.
That adoption, I think,
And,
would be.
Other than that, if there's any questions, let me know.
Brad, the 5 million is sufficient to keep our bond rating?
Yes,
Okay.
it keeps our bond rate, our bond rating, it has no effect on our bond rating, but it keeps our property tax rate flat.
And one of the other items is it also keeps that rate there so that when we want to move forward with the expansion of this courthouse, which will be a large project, that we will, this will give us the maximum amount of capacity to do that project.
Good.
Anything else?
Okay,
Brad?
that was it.
Okay. Personnel?
Did not meet.
Okay. Miscellaneous?
At the AIC conference this year, we had two of members of our community being honored. Mark Harebrant was nominated and was selected as Commissioner of the Year, and Brad Davis was Highway Engineer of the Year in the AIC conference. So I'd like to reach out to them and just applaud you for your.
Yay.
Thank you. I won't ask how many times you've received that award, so. We have tabled business. Do we have a motion on A,
Nope,
B, C? This is the appropriation. Motion on table, for the bond?
That's what we are,
Yes.
motion to untable.
Second.
All right, Connor?
Yes, at the last county council meeting, you guys approved the bond ordinance, setting the parameters of the bond to be $10 million. At the time, there were concerns about what would be funded, the dollar amount to be determined. As Councilmember Brad Beaver stated, the Finance Committee has recommended $5 million. With that being said, there was the appropriation hearing at the last meeting. It was conducted and no vote to approve the appropriation was held, it was tabled. It is my recommendation and bond council's recommendation to request your guys' permission to advertise for the appropriation hearing at your next meeting and have you guys vote for that and approve the appropriation for a $5 million bond per the Finance Committee's request.
Does your motion okay if we move that to the next meeting?
Yes.
so moved.
You-
All right, I don't think we have to vote on that,
Okay,
right?
yeah, that's fine.
Thank you so much. We'll take that.
Thanks, Connor.
All right, new business, approval of vendor claims.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Next item, our Sheriff Quakenbush, or the Hamilton Heights School Corp MOU.
Yeah, this is the same MOU that we've essentially had in place with Hamilton Heights for some time. There's a couple of additional items for responsibilities for the deputy and some legal requirements have changed regarding sharing information between the school and law enforcement. So those are the only changes. Nothing has changed on the financial aspect. Recommend approval.
Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor, do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Okay. Any other comments? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Next item is the update in the fairground improvements. Mr. Wood. I think we got a
There we go, Pat.
packet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you'll have a packet there. First, I want to thank you for letting me come up here and speak about this. As requested by council, it's a $15 million project. It stops, that's where we're at, it's $15 million. I'll give you a little bit of a breakdown. General conditions, equipment staffing is $1,312,000. The Bicentennial Pavilion is $6,333,410. The Llama Barn expansion and restrooms going in that facility, that was $2,057,000. The maintenance barn was $777,000. Maintenance and storage was a big storage facility for the equipment out there for the buildings that are being tore down. Site work and drainage, this is 70% of the drainage, $4,519,417 for $15 million. We have stressed this in the meetings, it will stay at the $15 million for this project as requested by council, and that's where we're at. Do you have any questions for me? I will tell you, we're in the process of all the state permits and city permits to get moving forward. The city is, I think, roughly 1.6 million purchasing the property from the Pleasant Street project, and the 4-H, that's in the process of getting completed. The Pleasant Street projects, we're at the DD for plans to go out to bid to get our G-Max price. Mr. Beaver has hounded me a couple of times about where we're at on that, so that's where we're at on that project. Obviously, we had the groundbreaking as well. Do you have any questions for me or anything I can help you with or answer?
I've got one, and that is, you mentioned the sale of the property for the
Yes.
Pleasant Street expansion. Where's that money? Does that go into the pot with the 15 million? How is that being distributed?
So we would come back and, so the city has requested that we run new fire lines and new other things, so that there will be a request for $1 million for that. That's for those things that weren't part of the project because of the request of the city for the different elevations for the ponds. The old pond now, we're gonna have to make it bigger and deeper. And then, the Pleasant Street project, there's a bunch of stuff with that project that the city's put requirements on, so we're gonna request those funds to do that. That's up to your discretion if you get those funds or not. But
So
that-
in essence, those dollars are going towards stormwater and utility work?
Correct.
You said 4.7 on the drainage?
4.51947, that's roughly 70% of the drainage. Can't do all the drainage right now because the future buildings that are gonna be there could change. If 15 years from now, 20 years from now, you decide to do more buildings out there, that portion of drainage will change. So all the major drainage out there will be resolved. It's for the drainage for the other buildings down the road.
I could be misremembering, but I thought the big chunk of that 15 was gonna go for drainage. That
It is.
seems 4 million
Well, so
seems
it
light.
actually is, so you gotta think of Pleasant Street, right? So roughly $5 million is going for the site work and drainage, so we're putting the pond all the way in the back.
Yeah.
We're running all new drainage all the way through, we're doing the drainage all the way to, the horse arena, the cattle barn, the small animal barns, to the Bicentennial building, the flat area, and then the pond side as required by the city now, we're expanding that pond, making it bigger and deeper, which was not originally part of the plan. We were gonna do underground storage, but to do underground storage, the cost went up almost to $8 million, right?
Okay.
So by taking some property away at the back and putting a bigger retention pond all the way at the back, we were able to save some cost.
You're pleased with that amount? I just thought it was gonna be a lot more than
No,
that.
so I will tell you, Banning, the surveyor's office and at Noblesville, it's all past their drainage requirements and that's what matters. We have to move some pipes up, we have to change some different sizes. The advantage for us, Pleasant Street project's going on at the same time, so we're getting a little lift in that portion of it.
Thanks.
I got another question on that. So with the Pleasant Street expansion, are our ponds being enlarged from a volume to take on drainage from the Pleasant Street?
No, it is not being.
Okay.
So,
All right.
So the
I just
same
wanna make
question
sure.
I had, so when I asked Noblesville about this, and Noblesville will tell you, my discussion with them, if we're doing this for their drainage, then they should pay for it. But it's
Exactly.
not, it's to meet the parking lot requirements over there. So if you know heavy rains, that parking lot has flooded a little bit where that current pond is. This will take that away.
And for the benefit for the public, we might only do the couple phases now, but you need to build your pond for the future because
Right.
it's a lot more expensive to go back and de-water and do that in the future. So take care of that now.
Correct.
Thank you.
Steve,
Yes, sir.
not that it's part of the project that you're talking about, but we have set aside money to do the solid waste building.
Correct.
And that is under, or at least in the process also, is
Yeah,
that
so
correct?
that's the Pleasant Street projects I talked about. That's the HHW, soil and
Okay.
water, weights and measures, that's all a part of that. We got to dig deep the prints. The drainage portion's been done of that. The one advantage for us is as I reminded the city, we did the drainage change for that, if you remember correctly, when we built the Humane Society, did those changes. So we
Okay.
met the requirements for that.
Okay.
Now, there's a fire service that has to be run for everybody after because of new requirements. We would request some of those funds back, from the sale to help offset those costs.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, they're underway.
Yes, sir, they're totally under the way,
Okay.
correct? Totally
All right.
under the way.
Okay, good enough, that's all I had.
And one last question.
Yes, ma'am.
What's the latest in final completion date anticipated? Okay, sorry.
At least let them bid the project first.
So the reason, so by the time we get the plans, the approval from the state, and the state goes to Noblesville, the Noblesville does theirs.
Okay.
It could, I can tell you 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 9 weeks, I can't guarantee anything. So
Well, you don't have a
Okay.
contractor yet.
I just thought you might have a date.
That helps.
yeah, we do have a contract, but that's a big plus.
Okay.
And I apologize, but that's what it is right now, it's a
Yeah,
fight trying
that's
to get
fine.
everything. Again, I appreciate all your help with this.
Thank
and everyone have a
you.
great evening.
Thank you.
Steve.
All right, next item, Hampton County Senior Citizen, Mr. Gorby.
Yeah.
Good evening, if you would state your name as you approach.
My name is James Gorby. I'm the president of the Senior Center over on Cumberland Road. We have asked the council for $30,000 for our operating budget for this coming year. The reason for it is we have been under consideration. The property on which we sit belongs to the county, and that has been considered in the past for jail expansion at some time in the future. And therefore, we have been advised by several members of the council that we should be looking for an alternative site and a building and all the rest of the stuff that goes with it. In order to continue to save for a new building, we would like some help from the council to meet our operating expenses. A senior center is something that is becoming increasingly important to people in the community. 30% of the population is seniors. People come here to work in the businesses that you all in the cities are bringing to the area, and we cannot fill the positions that they require within the area. So they are hiring college graduates from all across the country to come into these high-paying jobs. They come in relatively young, they form families, and then the grandkids come. And when the grandkids come, so do the grandparents. And the grandparents are not a burden on the county or the cities. They don't have children in school. They have grandchildren in school. They don't require a whole bunch of services that a growing family needs. And as you may recall, many of the facilities that are being built around here are for seniors, 55 over and that sort of thing. And so as these types of things grow, you're going to need more for seniors. And as I look around the room, I think I see a number of people that might be ready to join the senior center. We provide all kinds of activities, physical, mental, social, and trips and those sorts of things to edify the growing need for seniors to keep active in the community. So I would request that you folks consider and provide the $30,000 for this coming year that we have asked. Are there any questions?
Do you have any questions?
Good, couple. First of all, thank you. Senior Services, for all the organizations, the not-for-profit organizations that serve that part of our community is so important, and I consider your group part of that. Have you ever thought about a couple of things? When I was looking through your grant application, and there was discussions in the committee regarding the specifics, have you thought about, or would you be open to a consultant or someone to come and help formulate a business plan so that you can be the best you can be for for our residents in the community and be able to fundraise and become self-sustaining? Would that be something you'd be open to, that, rather than just giving you money?
I understand your point. What would be most interesting is to have some help in grant writing, because we are not very good at it, and we don't have many people that have done that in the past. And grant money is available, and it's out there, but to try to keep up with it and put the grants out there is something that is somewhat beyond our ken. And so a business development plan, if that would include a grant writer, I would be very pleased to do that. We did hire a grant writer for a period of 3 months. We paid them $3,200 a month and finally got one grant for $2,300. And we decided that that probably was not the way to go. We talked to another person who was in the business of raising funds for organizations such as chambers of commerce and so forth, and he was $25,000 a month, and would guarantee that we would get the money that we needed for a new center, but in the meantime, $25,000 a month. 5 years ago, we had $20,000 in our treasury. That's when we went to the commissioners and asked if we should spend $15,000 to upgrade our vestibule. That's when they told us that they're probably going to be looking for the property for jail expansion. Since then, we have raised over $280,000, which is currently in our
Wow, that's
treasury.
impressive.
I noticed that one thing that was mentioned was that we don't get much interest on that money. Nobody's got much interest on their money that they have invested over the past 5 years or so. The interest rates have been terrible, 0.1% or some number like that. So, you can't invest it. We are not in the business that we can take the money and put it in the stock market and make $1 billion overnight. We are much more conservative in that. We try to keep the money and so forth, such as you all are very conservative also, and appropriately so. So at any rate, if we could have something along the lines of a grant writer, that would be very useful.
So you would not be open to like a interim executive director to develop a business plan and look at grants as well as your whole business operations as far as how you get revenue and what are the best sources and expenses and?
Well, let me put it this way. Any help that you can give us would be most appreciated.
Okay.
Jim, can you talk about the makeup of the members of the senior center, where they come from? What are your numbers like? What have they been? Could you do it, please?
Yeah, approximately 90% of our members are in Hamilton County. They come from Westfield, they come from Fishers, they come from Carmel. We have a large number from Noblesville itself, since that's where the center is. We've got people from Tipton and some other outliers that come in, because we're one of the few senior centers in the area that is reasonably priced. Our dues are $80 a year, and that's up from $20 a year when we had a fully recycle center over there where we did paper and glass and all that thing. Unfortunately, the county opened a fully singing and dancing recycling center, and it kind of put us out of business. And so we no longer have that. At one time, the recycling center built the building in which we are, and they paid for all these activities and so forth that we had. But unfortunately, times have changed, and we no longer have that source of income.
Number of members?
Currently we have 266 members. 3 years ago, we had 466. COVID really did a number on us. And then, of course, as I mentioned to you, grandparents move here for the grandkids. Well, some of our grandparents moved to Iowa and Tennessee for their grandkids. And so, it's kind of a moving target.
As I understand it, somebody from your organization reached out to Mr. Buckingham and asked about getting some help from the county or a director level position?
Yes, we did. We were hoping to get a full-time director. Right now, it's a totally volunteer organization. We have 12 members on our board, all of which are volunteers. And as you undoubtedly have found in your own boards and so forth that you were responsible for, you don't put people in there to observe and to be knowledgeable and all that sort of thing. You put them in there to work. And so people coming onto our board are expected to work and to do the various things that are necessary to keep a senior center active and going. As a consequence, sometimes it's difficult to find board members, as you probably have found in your own business.
I think I'd ask the committee if you want to go back and look at it and report back to us at our next meeting.
We can do that.
Does that work for everybody?
That works for me.
Yeah, we can do that.
It's a good idea.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Next item, resolution CC 10, oh, I'm sorry.
It's 10:04, not 10:06.
Oh, okay, thank you. We jumped into the future. Resolution CC 10-04-2023.1, resolution of Hamilton County Council Authority authorizing Hamilton County, Indiana to become a member of the Central Indiana Regional Development Authority pursuant to the Indiana Code 36-7(7). Do I have a motion to approve for discussion?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All right, Connor, could you come forward? I'm sorry, Mr. Sullivan, could you come forward?
Yes, so there are two resolutions before the council tonight concerning CERTA. The first one is as a resolution to authorize Hamilton County to become a member of CERTA. And by statute, the county council is the authorizing body to permit Hamilton County to join the regional development authority, essentially. It's the Central Indiana Regional Development Authority, sorry. That is the first step that is statutorily required. The second resolution that you guys have before you is the plan, which is also something that is required by statute for members to approve the plan. Right now, it is a very, very generalized plan, and some of the points that I think are relevant are that it would give Hamilton County a spot on the board, which is at that point, once the board's formed, the board can make the rules and bylaws and stuff more specific to what the goals are of the organization. A few other things to also mention are that this does not require any funding from Hamilton County at this time. If CERTA were to approve any project or go after any project that requires funding, even if the Hamilton County board member approved it, the funding request would still have to come back to the county council, and at that point, you would be the governing body to determine whether those funds are sent or not. The statute allows entities or member entities to transfer money for these projects, but it does not require, there's no teeth essentially for CERTA to require Hamilton County to whether levy any regional taxes or assessments, or even to require Hamilton County to fund a project. The staff for it is one executive director at this point in time. That position is entirely funded through state and federal grants. So there's no concern that Hamilton County would have to pay for that executive director's salary or any kind of health insurance or any other benefits and so forth. That being said, again, the state and federal grants are what this entity will go to. I had a conversation with Councilmember Mark Hall. Think of it as economies of scale, right? If the whole Central Indiana region could go after these grants, specifically the READY 2.0 grant, which is about $500 million. This CERTA would be the one to help pursue those funds, and then at that point administer those funds to make sure that they're going to the projects that are approved by the voting members. With that, are there any other questions for that tonight?
I have a couple. Do you know if any other of the municipalities are currently reviewing this, or is it upon us, if we pass it, then go to them, or who does what first?
At this point in time, I know that the city of Fishers has adopted a resolution to permit the city of Fishers to become a member, and has also adopted the initial bylaws or plan. As far as the other underlying cities, I could not answer that. I know that this is working its way through the other donut counties right now, and I do not know where they are with that, but I do know Fishers has signed on and has approved both resolutions.
So they're the only one within, that you're aware of, that is,
Yes, yes,
Okay.
that's correct, yeah. Oh, have they? Oh, I'm sorry, Carmel and Noblesville might have adopted. They're on the website apparently. I apologize, I was not aware
This is
of
where
that.
the White River Vision Plan is going to live, so that's the only reason I know all this.
Okay.
Are we dealing with just the first one, or are we dealing with the second one? or
Well,
both?
the first one is what's on the table, right, what's
Okay.
up right now.
so with the executive director, I understand that you said it would be through grants.
Yes.
So what happens if grants go away? Then they
She
would go?
is unfunded and she will probably not want to be the executive director at that point. The whole idea would be that the CERTA would only operate as long as the funding is, as long as they can go get the funding from the state or the federal government for administrative purposes. In those grants, similar to grants that the county has right now, there's about a 10% threshold that is permitted to be used by CERTA for administrative purposes. That would pay for, again, her contracting fees or any other consultants or anything like that that they would bring on. And so to answer your question, yes, if funding ran out, there would not be any obligation for Hamilton County to fund that, even if the voting members were to make a motion and say that, hey, we want Hamilton County to pay that there's no teeth to that. There's nothing that would require you to do that.
And when you stated her, were you referencing Jennifer Messer?
Yes, I'm
Okay.
sorry, yes.
No,
I'm
I
sorry.
just wanted to make
Yes.
sure that,
Is that GNA number of 10% in the statute?
It is, so the actual, the CERTA statute itself, no, that is in the Ready Grant Ready 2.0 grant language.
There's no governing document for the CERTA that will limit what they could spend on administrative overhead?
Yes, every single grant they would ever be awarded would have those metrics in there, and I say that 10%, I guess there technically could be a grant that would have more or less. I just know that Ready 2.0 has a 10% threshold that can be used for that. I think that's a very common thing for these kind of grants.
But in fairness, that's driven by the individual grants, not,
Yes,
not the
yes.
statute for this.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, yes.
so what truly can be done that we don't do now between like MOUs and interlocals?
I apologize, I'm not an expert at CERTA, but I understand that it would be, the idea, again, I hate to sound like a broken record, but it'd be economies of scale, it'd be putting larger groups together to get those more regional transformational projects, to bring them here. It'd be similar to like the MPO, which helps fund a lot of roads in the greater Indianapolis area too. So it's similar to that, I believe.
Does Indianapolis have a larger vote than we would here?
No, it would be, the way I understand it is that every member has an equal vote to it.
So Hamilton County,
Hamilton County, Fishers, Carmel, everyone have their own vote, or member on the board.
has there been
yes.
discussion over how it would be determined who that representative from the county would be?
I do not think there has been a decision at that point in time. I think that's something that'll have to be determined after this has been approved, I believe.
And then the last question that I have, and if anybody else has questions, so related to the grants, I've heard that in order to be awarded certain grants that fall under this, we have to participate.
That I believe that is correct. I know what the.
She says that's correct.
Yes, I know with the Ready grant, at least that is correct, yes.
Can you send, I would prefer, could you send the language to our council attorney as far as related to where it states that specifically, so I could understand it and read it independently?
The part that talks about how we have to be involved, yeah, I can talk with Chris and we can work through that, yes. Yeah.
You might want to check with Ms. Messer. She told me that Indianapolis had 2 votes.
Yeah, do we not, does Hamilton County not have 2 votes on there? And that might be because it's Indianapolis and Marion County though, too,
I
though.
believe you're right, but I think she said they had 2 votes, and then the
Yeah, it's-
composite of those that were less than 7,500
Yeah, it's-
had 1 vote amongst all of those.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was of concern.
So that'd be something we need to clarify then, so if Indianapolis gets, but if it's Indianapolis, Marion County, then we'd have Hamilton County, Carmel, Fishers, Noblesville. I mean, we'd actually, technically then, Hamilton County would have more than Indianapolis in that front.
If they all become
I mean, if they all
If
come
they
together,
become-
correct.
right.
I'm just
So,
saying Hamilton County. in general.
I would actually, I'd ask the council, I want to have further discussion. I feel like there's a bigger discussion, and I know that there's probably questions. So I'm making the motion to table both, related to CERTA, which is items E and F. And I'd like to see if we could get a meeting maybe with Jennifer Messer as a group.
Before we have a second on that,
Second,
I just have a question of Connor, that's all. Was there a timeline on this, on when we have to have this
December
approved?
31st.
December 31st of 2023, so
Okay.
end of this year.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor for tabling this, tabling items 10E and 10F? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay.
Connor, is there any way that we could work to maybe get a meeting, at least with Jennifer? I don't know who the participating bodies, whether it's commissioners or whomever would want to participate, maybe in a work
Absolutely.
session prior to our
I'll,
next meeting.
If it's all right, I'll coordinate through you and Ken as the council president and yourself as be interested, and I'll get Chris involved and probably Commissioner Harebrant from the Commissioners.
Okay, that'd be great.
You
Thank you
saw
so
that
much.
Article 5, it did say 22.
Yes, and that is, if we would have got to that, I would have made sure that you were correct, that's a good find, it is 23, not 2022.
All right, next item, resolution, and so we tabled items E and F, so the next item is resolution CC 1004-2023-3. A resolution concerning the purchase of real estate for Hamilton County Regional Utility District projects. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion approved.
second,
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. An interlocal agreement with Fisher's Health. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
is,
Do you have a second?
Second.
All right, go ahead.
go ahead, tell me what it is.
This is,
Didn't they withdraw and have their own health department?
No,
But
it
this
has-
is to get some state funds.
You have to
Yeah.
you have to, in order for,
We have to
the
have a-
core services, I can't remember what.
What, they need us?
yep,
Yes, Fishers does need, Hamilton County has opted in, and by statute, there has to be an interlocal that transfers their funds within 5 days of receipt of those funds. The amount that is distributed to them is predetermined by statute, and we are, I believe, I know Jason Lemasters here, he can probably give you the exact number of how much will be transferred, but again, it's determined entirely by statute, so it's not anything that the county can determine at this point.
Jason, are you all right with this? Sure?
How much money are we talking about, Jason?
Sitting on the back row does not keep you from coming up front.
I know, I'm sitting back there trying to figure out, to go, not go, not go. Connor, you got this. Yes, we're okay with this. You're following what is in the statute and of course, part of the interlocal agreement and what we've been working through as well is basically also making sure that we don't have any, they're able to do what they need to under the statute and we're doing the same thing. So we're following the statutes, but we also don't have an obligation if they were not to do anything, you know, if they were not to cover one of the core public health services. That'll come out in what we have to do with the annual reporting that we're required to do, both agencies and both entities. One of the unique things that they did in the statute is also said we have to form a joint plan. So we've already also figured out what that joint plan is going to look like. I don't have the exact number. They did adjust those a little bit because only 6 counties in the state did not pick up the funding. So we got a little bit of a boost, about $50,000 more to deal with, but their portion is right about 1 million and I believe $1,000 or $10,000. I apologize for not having that number. I didn't think I was gonna get this number tonight, but theirs is right at $1 million is what their portion will
Do
be.
you have any idea what the percentage is? Is that 10%, 8%?
It's based on population, and it's based on their 2020 census
We don't
data,
see
at
the
about
state
98,000 people. And I believe with the new numbers, it went to around $13 per capita is about what it went up to.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
all right, seeing no other comments, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All right, now we're in the public hearing point, so I'll open the public hearing. First item is from County General on these next 7 items. So we have Clerk 144 amendment.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next item, Commissioners 144 amendment.
So moved.
Second.
All right, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We have an ISS transfer of $40,000.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Emergency management transfer of $12,600.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Prosecutor, 144 amendment.
So moved.
Second.
I see the prosecutors here. Is there anything you want to bless us with this evening?
Hiring of minimum requested.
We can slow things down. You're doing so well today. We're just trying to get Brian Johnson to the place where he was when he left a year and a half ago or so, and that's all. He's doing a great job for us, and he left, and we're gonna put him back right where he was.
Pass it along, I had the opportunity to go sit in Court 2 and watch
Yeah.
Mr. Johnson work the other day. Outstanding job, did a great job.
We're glad to have him back.
Thank
Okay.
you. Any other comments, questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Sheriff transfer of $237,000.
So moved.
Second.
All right, it's covering additional uniform needs.
And overtime.
Any other questions?
Overtime?
And overtime.
And overtime, yes. Seeing, any other comments? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Next item is the probation transfer of $25,000.
So moved.
Second.
Covering overtime, any comments? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Fund 1020, what was that?
Excuse me, on the 144s, these are changes for 2023, they will affect 2024. I'm gonna bring those back all at one time, so that we're not confusing things.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next item is the Fund 1023 HCAA Operating Fund requesting $721.56.
So moved.
Second.
All right, any comments, questions?
I would just remind everybody that the paving is underway at the airport to extend us to 7,000 feet. The concrete's going down and whatnot, so I think late October, we should have operational 7,000 feet at the airport.
And this, everyone knows, is about
We-
deferred
they'll send us-
compensation.
They'll send us a grand opening thing. We'll go, I encourage you all, when you see it, go out and take a look. It's impressive.
All right, any other comments pertaining to this item? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Next item, we have Fund 1138 Cume Capital Bridge transfer of $50,000.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments, questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Fund 1152 LEPC transfer of $8,000.
So moved.
Second.
All right, any comments, questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Fund 1202 Surveyor Cornerstone Perpetuation Fund,
So moved.
requesting $14,035. We have a motion and a second. Any other comments? So I don't have to say that again?
No.
All right, great, thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. All right, next item, Fund 1213 JLCASA requesting $14,000.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions, comments? All right, seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, next item is the Fund 1235 PSAP Lit requesting $500,000. There's two items. The first item is an additional appropriation of $5,000, and the next one is a transfer of $1,100,000. Do I have a motion?
So
You said
moved.
5,000?
500,000.
500,000.
500,000.
So moved.
Second.
All right, for which one?
First one.
First one, for the additional appropriation of $500,000. Seeing any other comments, questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Now we have a transfer of $1,100,000.
So moved. Second.
Questions? Seeing none, all those,
Things are pretty good when you can transfer $1 million, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Fund 2100 supplemental adult probation requesting $200,000.
So moved.
Second.
Paint, replace carpets. So, any other comments, questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. We have grants, appropriations, and transfers.
You
One more.
missed
Oh, I missed one?
Prosecutor's office.
Oh,
1930.
thank you. Oh, yes, sir. Fund 2500.2505 deferral user fee fund transfer of $19,354.48.
So moved.
Second.
Comments, questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Mr. President, can I move to put grant under J 1 through 6 to combine them all, please?
Second.
Let's have a motion to combine. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion to approve item J 1 through 6.
Second.
All right. A motion and a second. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, and I will close the public hearing. All right, announcements. Sheriff,
I don't have anything, thank you.
council attorney,
Another for the group, thanks.
Madam Auditor, Deputy Auditor.
I have a memo that I discussed with President Alexander and Vice Army. And this is all in regards to encumbrances, year-end stuff, and we're in the middle of implementing the go live with Workday in 24. I'm going to wait because we had a meeting this afternoon and I think things are gonna change, so we'll keep you abreast of what's going on. I think what will happen is you may see departments coming before you next year to have money reappropriated that rolled over. The appropriation will roll over rather than be encumbered is what we're striving for, but I'll come back.
Okay. With that, I will adjourn the meeting.